when this becomes official, because it's not official yet, when it becomes official, I think it will be a good fit for both Deshaun Foster as well as Eric Bieniemy. And they, you know, obviously they got to sign off on it. People got to agree to some things, but it's headed in the right direction. I think it's a great fit for him. There's an opportunity there, right? Let's say, what do you think on an average? The average is 6 openings a year in the NFL?
Yeah, I think there were 8 this time.
Yeah, so let's say 6.
Yeah,
6,
right.
let's just for conversation's sake. So that's an 18 over 3 years, if my math is correct. He's interviewed for all them jobs. So that means that's half the league. They've all seen him. They've talked to him, the owners, the this and that, the general manager, the coaches, and nobody's hiring him. What has happened now is he's got an opportunity to go back to college, bring what he brought to Kansas City and Washington, Minnesota as the running back coach, bring it to UCLA with a young coach in Deshaun Foster, who says, okay, I can utilize this and I can learn from this, and he can help me become a better head coach. But at the same time, the opportunity presents itself to all the universities that have not had an opportunity to see Eric Bieniemy. Because in the National Football League, Skip, the owners, there's 32 of them. And out of the 32 owners, there's probably on any given year, like you say, it's 6 owners if they're not new owners or recycled. You got 6 new owners that possibly can get in front of you. Where in college, there's tons of people that get in front of you because there's so many teams. And their owner, the athletic directors, aren't making the hires no matter what they tell you. And neither is the president of the universities. The guy who's writing the check, he's making the hire. Because what he says is, I want Skip Bayless. You go get me Skip, and I'll give you that $50 million you're looking for. And then I'll call my buddy Dean, and he'll give us another 50. And then I'll call Susie, whose husband just passed away. She has $1 billion. She'll give us some money. And they're the ones who's hiring the coaches. They're making the decisions in college. The AD signs off on it and stands up there at the press conference, but they're the ones who's financially backing it. It gives them an opportunity to get in front of those people. Let's say he goes on and they have a good season at UCLA this year and maybe even a better one the following year. Now there's a job opening somewhere that says, this is the way we need to go.
Agreed.
Because look, there's Deion Sanders, there's Deshaun Foster, you look at Antonio Pierce, you look at Gerard Mayo, you look at, there's something that's here that makes all the sense. Because when you talk about being able to communicate, identify with somebody, let's not fool ourselves, but he can communicate with both black and white. Okay, Eric Bieniemy can. But when you're talking about young black kids in inner city communities that's looking for a way out, that resonates.
It does.
That's just a different. Chip Kelly ain't going in the households of these young brothers and getting many of them.
No.
But when you have a Deshaun Foster and a Eric Bieniemy, a Deion Sanders, those type of coaches going into the cities that make up your team and make your roster the way it is.
Starting with this city.
You can close the deal. And so all he has to do is have some of that same success that he had in Kansas City, calling plays in college, and this opportunity is going to come way faster, I believe, in college football than it is in the NFL, waiting for a head coaching job for him.
All right.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
I like that. All right. So when I first read this, when I saw the first headline, it hit me as sad. This is just wrong. Like he deserved a better fate than this. Now he's relegated to having to go back to college. Then I started thinking about the Rooney Rule. My friend John Wooten has been presiding for years over it. It did do this for Eric Bieniemy. To your point, it feels like he interviewed for every job for 3 years. Okay? A bunch of them were dog and pony show interviews. A bunch of them were, you know what, they were token interviews. And he got taken for rides numerous times.
That may be the case.
And I think that still sticks in his craw because it should. But I know who Eric Bieniemy is like crazy. Like, that's a big name to me. When I see his name in headlines, my eyebrows rise up because he has been in the news a whole lot over the last 3 years for the wrong reasons. But he was with Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he made Patrick Mahomes, but he contributed to their rise.
And Matt Nagy made him. Matt Nagy got a job in Chicago.
Agreed.
Stop me before I get started, please.
Right. And it always upset me. I didn't think that Eric made enough money in Kansas City, and then he goes to Washington. In that situation, the more I look back at it, it was doomed from the start because they told him the moment he walked in the door, we are going forward with Sam Howell at quarterback. Well, I know Sam Howell. I've been watching him closely now. He's not bad, but he's not very good. And you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. You can only do so much. And they had a couple of games this year where it did raise my eyebrows. And I thought, oh, that was pretty good. They had a big shootout game with Philly. I told you that defense is no good. But Sam Howell put up some big 400-yard sort of passing numbers. I thought Eric, that worked pretty well.
They were good first half of the season.
They were. And I thought their defense was going to be, I'll go this far, above average. And at midseason, they dump or trade away everybody. You know, Chase Young and Sweat, they're gone. Really? And then Jack Del Rio got sideways, and it's like it was a mess that he found himself in the middle of with Sam Howell. You're going nowhere slowly. There's only so much you can do, and he did the best he could, and that was that. So it's not like he broke away from Andy Reid and he showed the NFL world. There's nothing you could show.
But here's what happens. Here's what happens in these situations, though. For a lot of black coaches, Skip, and I'm not one that always try to make everything black and white and versus this and that. We aren't afforded the same opportunities as our counterparts. We're just not.
Consistently, you are not.
We are not.
No.
We can't go from a Kansas City to a team that is just missed the playoffs, so to speak. We couldn't go from Kansas City to Philadelphia and just, we're not Nick Sirianni. We couldn't get that job. They're not going to do that for whatever reason. I don't know what the reasons are. It's always, I got to take on Sam Howell. I can't die and go to heaven and Peyton Manning falls in my lap. It just doesn't. It doesn't work like that a lot of the times. So when you look at it, he had no other opportunities that made sense. There were other opportunities, but the one, I don't want to be a running back coach. I want to be a coordinator. So the one that made sense was Washington. I can go get a running back coaching job.
Been the quote-unquote assistant head coach, but he was going to coach the running backs.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
Because he's effectively not entitled, but he's the assistant head coach
And that's what I try to say all the time about decisions that you make. It's not that I can't get a job. It's just that the job that I want, you're not offering me. You are offering somebody that's less than me, okay? I look at a situation, and it's pretty mind-boggling to me, but I look at a situation and Anthony Lynn leaves San Francisco as the run game coordinator, as an assistant head coach. He now goes to Washington. Cliff Kingsbury is the offensive coordinator. He's the run game coordinator. And he runs circles around Cliff Kingsbury, calling plays and doing certain things. He was a head coach for 3 years in the National Football League with a long resume, but he got to work under Cliff Kingsbury. To me, that's crazy. When I look at it, I'm like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So when Eric decides to take this job, when they announce it at UCLA, there's an opportunity for him to call the plays and do it his way and lead men and teach them, opposed to staying in Washington because he was not fired. He decided to leave because it was like, you're demoted if you want to stay.
On the wall.
But you're demoted. And I'm not staying here for this dude who, I don't even know who they hired as offensive coordinator, but whoever they hire, Eric Bieniemy's resume is better than his, and I don't even know who they hired.
At Washington?
At Washington.
Well, it's Kingsbury.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's Kingsbury. I'm tripping.
Okay.
His resume is better than Cliff Kingsbury's. His resume is better than Cliff Kingsbury's.
His reputation is not better than Cliff Kingsbury's.
Because they make his reputation that way versus the way that they making Eric Bieniemy's reputation. That's all that is. And I like Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury's fine. But don't try to sell me a bag of goods, and I know better. Now, if you told me, well, we want to run this style offense, this is the offense that we want to run, okay, that's fine. If that's what you think you want to run and you want to be successful, Dan Quinn, I can understand it. I can buy into that. But if you're just hiring Cliff Kingsbury because you think he's a better offensive coordinator than a guy who won multiple Super Bowls and had a quarterback that's not that good playing good on a bad team, you know, it's a different conversation now.
All I know is that at previous stops in college football, Eric Bieniemy was the recruiting coordinator.
Yes.
So you can't tell me he doesn't have a level of charisma and charm and connectivity.
That's why this, in my opinion, will be a home run hire for UCLA. Now, I don't know what UCLA going to do with it. I mean, it's UCLA. But in the end, it's a home run hire.
Is it hard for you to root for people at UCLA? Because you know Deshaun very well.
Deshaun is one of my closest friends. And I'm all Deshaun. I'm not all UCLA.
Okay.
I'm all Deshaun. I want to see him be successful and succeed at the highest level fast. That's it.
Okay.
I look, if they lose, I'm like, damn. But if they win, I'm like, yay. I don't, you know. They can go undefeated till they play USC. And him and I, every time we play each other, we always got a little wager.
Okay, so who wins recruiting battles locally between USC and UCLA right now? Who's got the most cachet?
We do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's USC.
Yeah.
It's an easy, we don't need a Hollywood celebrity coach because our university recruits itself. I mean, it's just the reality of it. I'm not speaking arrogantly about the school or nothing like that. It's just USC versus
But you do have a celebrity
UCLA.
coach.
No, we have a coach that came from Oklahoma in Lincoln Riley.
Well,
we had a celebrity coach in Pete Carroll. We had a celebrity coach.
He became that.
Yes. And we had a celebrity coach in Lane Kiffin. He's a celebrity coach here in Los Angeles because of his personality.
Yeah.
And Lincoln's not like that. He's a little more laid back, chill.
No, but I understand that. But he came with big cachet because he had
he came with big cachet, and the cachet is what do they call it? The shine is starting to dull a little bit. It is because we can become impatient with certain situations, and that's just our alumni base. That's what it is.
I'm just trying to figure out if Eric and Lincoln wind up in the same living room, who's got the shot?
I would still think because of the university. I think because of the university. For whatever weird reason, it's harder for UCLA to recruit certain type. Now, look, here's what I'm going to say. It may be different now with Deshaun because UCLA identifies, for whatever reason, they identify a different type of players. They recruit a different type of player than USC. And I can only go back to my own experience, and ever since then, that's kind of the way it's been.
Which is
Terry Donahue recruited me.
Yes. I knew Terry very well. God rest his soul. Yeah.
And Wayne Moses was the running back coach and the recruiting coordinator. My roommate, high school teammate, was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the running back at UCLA. Went to high school together. We stayed together. He was at UCLA. I was in junior college.
He was very good in college.
I'm the number one player in all of junior college football 2 years in a row. But I wore an earring. And Kareem would ask Wayne, what are y'all doing? He's in my living room. We cook and eat together. He said, coach don't like them earrings. He don't like. I said, wait a minute, man.
He didn't.
I'm never going to not wear an earring when I'm young like that. So, different type of player. It's just a different, and that's the way. But it may be different. That may be different now with Deshaun. The great thing that I saw the other day that just put the biggest smile on my face, man, is the UCLA-USC basketball game. I'm watching it. They bring out Deshaun and announce, new head coach, UCLA, blah, blah, blah. He looked like a player. He didn't look stuffy.
No.
He had his Cuban link chain on. He had his baseball cap cocked to the side.
It was cool.
He had his T-shirt on with his shirt open.
I think he was trying to make a new statement.
I said to myself, I said, I love it.
Yeah.
And I love it because that, to me, signals something to the players that I'm with y'all. I'm with you. Same thing as Prime. Prime going to be him. Deshaun going to be him. Opposed to Brian Kelly, who got up in front of LSU crowd a year ago, and he became a Southerner all of a sudden. which wasn't him. You know, it's like, oh God. So no, I'm fired up. I'm fired up for Deshaun. I'm not fired up for UCLA. I'm fired up for Deshaun. And if they finalize this Eric Bieniemy deal, I'm fired up for the opportunity that Bieniemy will get to be a head coach in the future.
He's going to be the coordinator.
Well, I'm sure it's just not officially announced yet, so I'm one that just kind of.
From what I've heard, it's
it's
done.
close. But you know how it goes. You got to sign off, and the region's got to make a decision, and this is the money and all that.
So when you talk about his mystique, he does bring Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, to college football. I love that part because that works.
You walk into a kid's room and you drop them Super Bowl rings on the table and you let them know, I also won a national championship when I played at Colorado.
He did.
I coached in Super Bowls. I won Super Bowls. I lost Super Bowls. That's a different, them eyeballs pop out. The same thing Deion effect. It could potentially be that for UCLA with Deshaun and Eric Bieniemy. It could be.
UCLA, sleeping giant. Might come back to life. Here we are. I don't know.
It's UCLA. They gonna win. They gonna win 8 games.
They got tradition. They've won some games.
The stadium's empty half the time. Now you just want
it only holds 102,000.
Okay,
right?
Fill it up.
Yeah.
Fill it up.
Maybe they will.
Get half of 102, and then talk to me.
Some nights I'm looking at your game at the Coliseum. I'm seeing a whole bunch of empty seats.
This year was a lot of empty seats. Last year we were filled. And then we'll see what happens moving forward.
You had the reigning Heisman winner.
Yeah, but he wasn't winning no Heisman last year. No. That's for damn sure.
No, he wasn't. All right, here come them Bruins.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.